Hi guys, if you're a returning viewer, then welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, then my name is Ben Chinnock. I post videos about me self-publishing onto the KDP platform and everything I do to ensure success. So if you want to follow me on my journey and want to know all the hints, tips and tricks that I have about publishing, give this channel a subscribe. But without further ado, let's jump straight into the video. So what does a successful pricing strategy look like? We're going to go over some of the different pricing strategies that are out there. I'm going to go over a couple of case study examples of these strategies in action, and towards the end of the video I'm going to show you the roadmap that I use to determine the prices of the books that I put out, so stay tuned for that. So generally, to determine this, we ask ourselves, how important is pricing strategy for sales? Now this is very important because actually the answer is that it varies, and generally speaking, pricing isn't everything. There's so many other things as well that determine how well your book does. I'm going to touch on that a little bit later, but bear this in mind. So if you're spending a lot of time trying to research what price to price your book at, then stop doing this. I mean, your time's more valuable elsewhere. So yeah, let's move on anyway. So the two general methods of approach is that generally some people that I know go into this with a predetermined price. They like having a fixed amount of sale every time they do make a sale. So they might price every single notebook that they have at, say, $6.99, so that every time one sells, they know they're getting at least $1.90 in royalty every time if they made their notebooks 120 pages. And they also spend less time on pricing strategy research. So this could be quite efficient in a sense, but generally most people that I know use the markets to gauge their pricing, and this is dynamic. This may make you more sales and rank better, and this is the strategy that I use as well. So when I say rank, what I mean is we generally want to appear on the first page of search results after a keyword search. So if someone's search is dog notebook for kids and we appear on the first page, then I have ranked for that keyword. And to rank, we are looking to make a certain amount of sales for a search keyword every week. So for dog notebook for kids, I might need, say, 100 sales in a week to be on the first page for that. So to help rank, it seems logical to price your books cheap because, hey, everyone's looking for a bargain. But I promise you, this generally isn't the case. Sometimes it is. Let's have a look at some of the case study examples that I have. So in my case, a very good example is that I've published a book about 6 months ago now, and I priced it in the UK at £4.99, and in the US it's $9.99. It's a colour book, so the margins in it are a little bit lower than you think. So I published it 6 months ago. It did really well in the UK. The BSR in the UK is about 5,000. And then 3 months after it was published, I noticed a competitor come in, and they make their book, and they make it very, very similar to my book. Not exactly the same. They've got a slightly different background color, and the elements that are on the front page are slightly different in their book. But generally speaking, everything else is very, very similar. They've priced their book £1 under and $2 underneath my book as to undercut it. And if we look at the BSRs, we have very similar BSRs in the UK. They're slightly beating me in the US, so if this is your book and you know who I'm talking about, then congratulations. But we've got similar BSRs in the UK, and if you look at the amount of their royalty they're making 54 cents, but I'm making $1.14. So I'm still making more money than they are on a very similar book. So pricing isn't everything. If we look at other case study examples as well, with letter tracing, there's 2 letter tracing books that I found with the bestseller badge. One's priced at $3.99, one's priced at $6.99. Again, pricing isn't everything. Sketchbooks, 2 with the bestseller badge, one priced $3.99, one priced $5.49. You can see these for yourself. Generally speaking, the pricing isn't everything. So pricing low, as you saw before, is a good strategy, but it does have its drawbacks. I mean, you've got low profit margins here. I mean, if you price your book at $3.99 in its colour, they were making 40 pence off a $3.99 book. That's a 10% profit margin. And that gives you no breathing room for ads. You need an ACOS of 10% or lower to make any sort of profit, and that's quite difficult, especially if you're going into a new niche. And the other thing is, it's quite demotivating. If you spend a lot of time on your book, maybe if it's a notebook, it's not so bad, but if you spend a lot of time on this book, pour your heart into it, for example, and you price it so that you get 40 pence every time it sells, then that can be quite demotivating when you see your sales report. And that's something that I found as well. I mean, some people will be different. They might not be so emotionally attached, but for me, I know it's something I need to work on, but I do feel sometimes slightly emotional attached to some of my books. So for me, that's quite demotivating, and that's another reason why I don't price that low, and why you shouldn't as well. But yeah, like I said at the start, pricing isn't everything. Along with pricing, it's about using appropriate metadata like your title, making sure that the grammar is good and that you have correct capitalization, using great designs on your books, well presented listings, so great description, and filling up unmet needs. And filling up unmet needs is going to be the topic of another video. But yeah, here's your roadmap, and here the roadmap that I use to price my books. So first things first, I ask myself, is my book in a low competition niche? If the answer is yes, then I price my book as high as I wish. If the answer is no, I've published into a medium or high competition niche. These are obviously relative terms, but if there's if you type in this a keyword and a lot of results come up, generally speaking, it's a high competition niche. So I ask myself then, is my book in any way unique that sets me apart from the competition? Is it visible design difference to the rest? Have I got an unmet need in my book? Say, if is my book got quotes in and none of them have? Or am I addressing a 1-star review? If the answer is yes, then I price my book at the market average. If I'm literally copying someone's book, like in the sense that the case study I showed you earlier is doing, so they've just changed the background a tiny bit and they kept content very similar to my book, then I'd price below market average and try and advertise against the book that you're really like copying, and people have been successful, as you saw in that case. So that's what I would advise. So yeah, you want to ask yourself, is your book making sales? So if you priced it at $6.99, for example, and the answer is yes, then fiddle around with the price, put it up to $7.99 and see if it still sells. If it still sells, then try and price it higher. If it doesn't sell, then you found a sort of upper limit as to what your customers in that niche will be paying. So you get information about your customers. And likewise with pricing it lower, if you price it down to $5.99 and then you get sales, then you know the upper limit out as to what your customers would pay for. If $5.99 is below the market average, then you know that that's quite a price sensitive niche. So fiddle around with the price, as you can see here, if it is making sales, and try and put it back up to $6.99. And if you're not making sales at $5.99, audit your book, check that your keywords are all correct, that you've got good grammar in your title and things like that, not design. But yeah, my top tip really is off the back of my roadmap that I showed you, is just keep changing the price of your books. Get a feel for the customers in your niche. I mean, you find this is what the publishing business is all about. It's about learning every single day. So this sort of information is invaluable to you when you publish in that niche. Like, you know exactly what your customers will pay and things like that. It's really good information to have. So keep messing around with the price, find the upper limit as to what your customers will pay. And that's a really good way that you're going to be very successful with self-publishing. So I think that's it from me. As always, if you like this video, do give it a thumbs up. If you have any suggestions for me within this video or for topics within upcoming videos, then do drop me a comment. And if you want to follow me on my publishing journey and you want to know all the hints, tips and tricks I have to offer within self-publishing, then do subscribe to this channel and click on the bell icon to stay updated as to when I post my new videos. But otherwise, that's it from me. I will see you lot in the next video. Thank you very much and have a great day.